Lewis Hamilton. Born in Hertfordshire in January 1985, by the age of 10 he was world karting champion. By the age of 15 he won the World Cup for England. And during his championship-winning year in Euro F3, he was elected President of the United Nations, responsible for successfully brokering peace in the Middle East and the former Yugoslavia. In this, his debut year in F1, he is not only the first rookie to lead the F1 World Championship, but before long, he is expected to make the impossible possible, to feed the starving, to heal the sick, even to make driving a Hyundai Trajet somehow acceptable. Surely he is the one who will discover the answer to life, the universe and everything, for he is here to save mankind. All hail our Lord, Lewis Hamilton. And even if none of that's true, I mean, he is a bloody good driver and he seems like a nice guy and we love him.
Hello, welcome to Gareth Jones on Speed. I'm Lewis Hamilton's third biggest fan.
I'm Lewis Hamilton's second biggest fan.
I guess that makes me Lewis Hamilton's seventh biggest fan. There's another four guys in here that aren't going to speak.
It's almost a joke that we have to do this. We've dedicated an entire programme to Lewis Hamilton because he's so flipping wonderful. I mean, we've been fans of motorsport for many years. We always get excited when there's a great British driver, and we always like to take the mick out of a great British driver. It's been a while since we've been quite as impressed as we have been with Lewis Hamilton. So, are you know, we joke that we're fans. I have to admit, I am a fan. Are you a fan?
Absolutely. He's just on another level to really anybody else that we've seen come into the sport. And I love the style which he's doing it. It's not just the fact that he's getting the results and that he's leading the World Championship in his first year, but he's doing it with such, great style.
Okay, in your, considered opinion, how is he doing it? How has he managed to do it?
I mean, he's certainly incredibly well prepared. We know that he's had years of support from McLaren. He's been, in terms of his physical training, in terms of the kind of coaching he's had, and in terms of all the support he's had, he's been unbelievably well prepared. But that's no good if you haven't got the most extraordinary talent, and that's what he's got.
Well, that's what it's down to, isn't it? He's just really, really good. You know what you're saying, Gareth, about we always like it when a British driver comes along.
Yep.
We also, as Formula One fans, always like it when a supremely talented driver comes along, of the ilk of Senna, Schumacher, people who just seem to have that supernatural ability that's just a step on from what you kind of hack about journeymen. Let's not forget, people who are in F1 are always dead good, except perhaps I was going to say Taco Inui or something like that, but God love Taco Inui.
A couple of German drivers.
Yeah, a couple of them. But we love great drivers, we love British drivers because we like to support people who are from where we're from. But this is a time when a supernaturally talented driver who's also British has come along, so it's sort of doubly exciting. You don't have to make excuses for him. He is just unbelievably good.
And I think we're going to see a season this year like we're not going to see for years to come. This is going to be a spectacular season to watch. We
have a problem, though, with Lewis, don't we? I mean, we like to take the mick out of drivers. It's part of our job here on the programme, right? Okay, Jenson Button, comedy beard, funny West Country accent, right?
Funny dad, all sorts.
Stuck with a slight.
David Coulthard, slightly hopeless. We love him. Big Scottish chin, big Scottish accent.
This week as well. Did you see it was last week when he was going? Oh no, I'm as good as as Lewis. David, no. You seem like a nice guy, and sometimes you do pull out the most storming performances, and I love it when Coulthard does that because secretly I do quite like him, but you're not as good as Lewis.
Anthony Davidson, so enthusiastic Terry. I'll do it. Rubens Barrichello, Scottish, right?
Yeah.
Lewis, though.
I just checked. I just found something out last week.
About what?
About Rubens. Apparently he's Brazilian.
No.
I know, it's stupid.
He sounds Scottish when he's interviewed.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So, Lewis, what have we got on Lewis, right? He's from Hertfordshire.
The least funny county in Britain?
Yeah,
No,
Quite
so
a long
long.
walk.
Buckinghamshire not funny either.
yeah, but there's quite a difference. You're right. It does lead by over half a second in terms of lack of funniness over
It's not funny.
over Kent. Even Kent's funnier than Hertfordshire.
Kent's funny,
Yeah.
because, well, for a number of reasons, one of
Yeah.
which involved Trevor McDonald doing a terrible spoonerism on the phrase Kent countryside.
That's it. Hey.
Cut
So
that.
right, okay. So Hertfordshire, not funny, right? He's really intelligent when he's interviewed, isn't
Yeah.
he? He says considered and honest, open young things. You can't fault him.
Pleasant
Yeah.
voice, not funny, just pleasant,
Yeah.
pleasant voice.
No real comedy accent either.
He doesn't put his foot in it when he's being interviewed or anything. You know, he just does.
You got anything?
His dad is a slick class act, seems like a nice
Nice
guy.
guy,
You know,
right?
Jensen's
Yeah.
dad smoking a tab round the back by the fuel rig. Oops, whoa, steady there.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
crazy scrap metal dealer. And he's not, is he? He just looks like one. But that's it. No, Lewis seems like he's a nice family. He's from a nice county. He's a nice guy. There's no obvious comedy element, except one thing which does needle me about him a little bit. You know, when they get out of the car, and the second that he gets out of the car and goes into that little room where they put their lid down, he puts on the damn watch. What's with the watch?
Every
He puts
time.
on the watch.
It's
What
true. Yeah.
is he doing putting on the watch?
Ever found yourself in a press conference, unable to come up with some blandly pleasant remarks about how well your team has performed? Then you need the new Personality Watch from Strontium, as endorsed by Lewis Hamilton.
So, Lewis, you must be delighted with the result.
Yeah, it's all right, you know. Oh, hang on, I haven't got my watch on. Yeah, the team performed brilliantly this weekend. I really couldn't have asked for more. Very happy with the result here. And now, the Strontium Personality Watch, Kimi Räikkönen edition.
Kimmy, are you pleased with how things went today?
Yes, it was a very interesting race. The car felt neutral at the start, thanks to the new aero package we've been working on, but I was especially delighted that... oh, wait, I haven't got my watch on. And coming soon, the Strontium Personality Watch JYS edition, as endorsed by Sir Jackie Stewart.
Rubens, you had a good race today?
And for sure, the car was working well. Our pit strategy was excellent, and I think the guys... oh, wait, I haven't got my watch on.
Hey, it was a cracking race out there today, no bother on the track, you know, and the guys, they were absolutely f***ing superb. The new Personality Watch from Strontium, as endorsed by Lewis Hamilton.
Sniff Petrol with Gareth Jones on speed!
As we record this programme, we are a few days away from the British Grand Prix. Zog, will Lewis Hamilton win the British Grand Prix? Go on, money on it.
I think he probably will if I had to go one way or another. But you'd have to say, after the last race, clearly Ferrari have either made up ground on McLaren, or McLaren are just not, haven't got their act together as in terms of development, the way they've had over the last few races. And we've got to fight, a real battle in terms of outright speed, in terms of who's got the fastest car.
Well, who knows where that's going to go, because where was the last big test session? Apart from the last race, obviously, but where was the last big test session?
It was
Silverstone.
Silverstone,
So everyone's
yeah.
got their eye in it.
Got the
Yeah,
data.
you'd think.
But there's also another element coming to this now, of course, with the whole espionage thing that's going on with Ferrari.
Well,
McLaren.
yeah.
This has got to be affecting one or both of the teams.
Okay, if you haven't heard this story, see if I can do this in a nutshell.
Get close to the mic, because it sounds brilliant when you do it.
Okay. It has been alleged, right? It has been alleged that Nigel Stepney, who works for Ferrari, and Mike Coughlin, who's the lead designer at McLaren, have been working in collusion. We didn't suggest this. This is what's reported in the papers at the moment.
It's
Working in
public
collusion,
domain.
exchanging data, right? So they've both been suspended by their respective teams. This is like James Bond! When was the last time this happened in Formula One? Do you know?
Well, or might I suggest, when was the last time this happened in Formula One that we heard about?
Good point. I like it when you get close to the mic too.
I
There was
enjoy getting
Toyota
close to the
recently,
mic.
Of course, there was the whole
Yes.
Toyota
Yep.
incident where
Yeah.
Toyota engineers who had come from Ferrari were investigated and charged by.
Apparently,
German
they had
police.
some red paper clips in their briefcases when they turned up at Toyota. And, it's all
And
business.
is that in the same year when Toyota considered releasing a road car called the Tino? Of the 598.
Oh, I see where you go.
Thank you. We're talking about Lewis Hamilton right now. One thing you mentioned a moment ago before we went off on that strange diversion was Silverstone.
Yes.
Now, last year, if you recall, we went to Silverstone to the GP2 race, which was on the qualifying. Well, I went along and interviewed Lewis Hamilton, and we ran the interview in the show. Now, the kind of position he was in at the time was almost identical to the kind of position he's in the Formula One World Championship now. And so I figured I could actually run that interview again right here, right now, but just simply swap. Every time he says GP2, we've put in the words F1, right? And you see, and tell me if this interview does not make perfect sense today. This is the interview recorded last year, slightly changed. Lewis, this F1 season's working out all right for you, isn't it?
It is at the moment. It's going very well. It's a tough season, obviously, for us for me, because my first season in
F1.
It's a steep learning curve, but it's gone really well so far, and I'm in the best position. I've got a great team behind me, and a great teammate as well. So it makes everything not easier, but better in terms of working.
Of the many drivers in a F1 World Champion, Fernando Alonso is arguably the finest, and yet you're showing him the way around here. So you've got to be reasonably good. How competitive is Alonso? And how much do you guys share? Do you share in this team?
Yeah, well, all the data's shared. Obviously, in every team, they share all the data. So if I'm quicker than him in practice, he will see where I'm quicker, and then he'll be able to catch up a little bit. But then it's always a case of where you have to just keep raising your game. And it's a very difficult thing to do, because when you're already there, when you're at the top, but he's very quick, and so to stay ahead of him is tough. But at the moment, I'm managing to do it, and I hope that in the race today we'll be able to do it as well. It's great to be on the front row here and have in front of the British crowd as well. So.
And go on, give me a 20-second answer. Everyone's talking about you being a world champion.
I hope so. It's going to be, and it's a tough step. And but I need to
Win more races.
That's the key. Win as much as possible. Come away with the championship would be perfect.
Lewis, thanks for talking to me, man. Diolch yn fawr iawn, as we say in Wales. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Do you know, you could have got away with that if you hadn't told people. And also maybe if you'd got a slightly more convincing voiceover artist to fill in the gaps. That's uncanny.
But other than that, it is
It's
pretty
uncanny,
okay,
isn't it? But here is why we shouldn't really be surprised that Lewis Hamilton is doing so well at the moment, because, let's face it, he's just won consistently through his career. And I think the obvious fallback was to say, well, yeah, but F1 is a whole different thing. It's the big league. But frankly, he's just built up to it in a considered, careful way, and he seems like a considered, careful person with considered, careful management of his career. So it's not really that surprising that he's done so well now in F1.
Well, he's got the level of talent that enables him to make the jump from one series to another, from one kind of car to something quite different, and take it in his stride. He doesn't know how to lose. He doesn't know how to. He's just.
Well, that's one thing that is quite interesting. You know, when he was sort of building up to his first win, and there was this almost palpable disappointment from him and from his dad, and to some extent from Ron Dennis. It's almost like he was expected to go in there and win. And yet at the same time he doesn't seem to be susceptible to this pressure. But you'd think actually it was almost like he went in expecting it, not in an arrogant way, it was just almost he's pre-programmed to win.
They all
he
are.
knows he is that good. And
They all are. This is the extraordinary thing, I think, that defines Lewis Hamilton and the likes of Schumacher, the really gifted ones, is just about every F1 driver that comes into F1 has a record behind them, with the exception of the paid drivers, of only ever winning. They've been into the championships. They're all the top guys. They are the creme de la creme. Certainly there's a few who bring money with them, but the majority of those drivers have got to be good enough in the first place, at least to bring the money on board as sponsors. So they're all of a very, very high standard. And I think when you get to F1, you have three ways to go. You can either go plus, 0, or minus. Plus is that you continue winning in the way that you always have done. 0, when you kind of get there, but you're still hanging in there. But you can continue working at it, Jensen Button, for
Exactly.
instance.
Well, how many times do you see that? You see a lot of these drivers who come into F1 and they've done well in lower formulas, and then they just don't deliver as well, because they might have been in a season in F3000 or GP2 or something like that, where maybe they were just a supreme talent, but then they go into F1 where suddenly they're up against people, and they're up against Alonso and Raikkonen and previously Schumacher.
or they're just sort of peaking in terms of their, their speed,
Maybe they found their natural level at GP2, and unfortunately,
the
extra G's. They can't take the extra G's.
Or, thirdly, they come into F1 and they're so keen to get into F1, they'll accept practically any drive with any team. And they can't even, they think, well, maybe I'll be good enough to make a difference in that car, but the team is so hopelessly lost that you can't. And it must crush these guys. And I would really like to talk to an ex-F1 driver about the kind of counselling they get afterwards, or certainly need. It must be tough if you get to F1 and fall to pieces. Heikki Kovalainen, fabulous driver, should be doing better. A good example of someone who, for somehow, it just hasn't gelled yet.
Never forget.
It's almost starting to gel for him. I mean, he made that an awful start of the season, but it's starting to look respectable.
He's putting it together,
he's still, in comparison to Hamilton,
but he's just has a trouble. Everyone's overshadowed. All the rookies are overshadowed. But also, never forget this idea that confidence is very, very important. These are people who need to have that absolute mental focus. And a friend of mine was Clang talking to Damon Hill the other week, and Damon Hill said to him, "I feel for Alonso at the moment. The person I really feel sorry for in F1 is Alonso, in as much as the team will now be pulling behind Hamilton because he's delivering the consistent results that obviously they want. And Alonso is not a useless driver, but he's slightly out of his comfortable Renault zone now." And Hill said the moment that will absolutely sap his confidence is that his chief engineer or someone like that will come up to him and go, "Fernando, after last Sunday's race, is there anything we can do for you?" And that apparently is just because that in a driver's mind psychologically is, how can we help you? Because clearly your talent needs a little bit of help from the car. Hill said that as a driver is just the moment at which you just go and deflate, because you realise you're being slightly patronised almost. You're not being able to drive around any problems with the car. We have to make the car suit your deficiencies, and that's it. You just go.
Scooby Doo, where are you? We've got a job for you now. Scooby Doo, where are you? Go to Formula One now.
Who can believe it, Scoob? We're at the British Grand Prix. Did you get some Scooby snacks?
Oh, Shaggy, when I bought a burger, I was completely overpriced.
Okay, gang, we got work to do. We gotta meet a mysterious grey-haired old man by a stall selling cheap Ferrari-branded merchandise.
But Freddy, that could be anywhere.
No, wait, here he is now.
Hello, kids.
It's president of the BRDC, Damon Hill.
Kids, I need your help. There's this new kid in town, and there's something not right about him. He seems to be winning all the time in his first F1 season. And trust me, that's just not possible.
Maybe he's just a bit more talented than you, Damon Hill.
Quiet, Scoob.
But what can we do, Mr. Hill?
Find out who's behind him. But be careful. There are strange things in F1, and I don't just mean my beard.
Okay, guys. Shaggy, you and Scoob go that way. The rest of us will investigate the paddock.
These motorhomes are giving me the creeps. Wait, what's that?
Don't go any further, children, for this neatly arranged paddock area is haunted.
Bernie Ecclestone?
That's right.
And you kids are messing with things you don't understand. What, like the technical regulations for the next 3 years? Bah, pesky kids.
Uh-oh, the race is over, Scoob, and still no clues. Wait, Scooby, you can't go into the post-race conference.
Oh, yes, I can.
Shaggy, what's going on?
It's Scooby Doo. He's going to knock Lewis Hamilton to the ground.
Come away in the championship would be perfect enough.
Sorry.
Wait, what's happening? His mask has come off!
Michael Schumacher!
So there was no Lewis Hamilton. It was just a 7-time world champion in a mask.
Yeah, and I would have got away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
Damon Hill, your mystery is solved.
Yes, my old nemesis. Well, Schumacher, you'll have plenty of time to practice winning another title. Locked in F1 prison.
What, a driver contract from Flavio Briatore?
Well, I guess that mystery's wrapped up, eh, Scooby?
Oh, I know Schumacher in the room.
Great work, gang. I guess the only mystery left is why Michael's brother still has a career in motor racing.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, we thank you. We think you filled our need now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, thanking you. We return to Gareth Jones on speed now.
I want to wrap this up now. I'll ask the big question finally in a moment about the World Championship. Make your minds up now, and you make your mind up while you're listening as well. Will it be Lewis that wins the World Championship? Work out your answers, you two. But, first of all, when he crumbles, because everyone has a moment, what will be the nature of Lewis's bad day? Any guesses?
He'll get out of the car having won a race and they'll have lost his watch. He'll go to pieces.
Something will happen to him that will make him cynical. He will either get wrapped by someone in the management who are taking such a great job of him, because, you know, people's virtues become their vices. And the fact that he's so well cosseted and protected by his family, and by Ron Dennis and by the McLaren machine, that somehow, I don't know how it will manifest itself, but I predict that could become the issue. I don't know, you know, he will feel throttled. He will think it's like what I call the Spice Girls syndrome.
Yeah.
We've had one hit single, now we can manage ourselves. It will be something of that essence.
That's what I was just going to say. It's boy band syndrome. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Really?
Boy band syndrome, where they suddenly have a number one album and they go, actually, we don't need the management team and the songwriting team that made us big. Our next album is going to be written by us, and we're going to look after ourselves.
I can imagine that happening, but this is a case where if you were to imagine that kind of split, you know, he's surely a driver with the talent to.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, he has got such an extreme talent. Now, we're assuming quite rightly that, you know, he's still a human being and it could all go wrong. Some little crack will appear which will become a huge fissure in his personality. But did that happen to Michael Schumacher? Lost the ability to speak. You know the bloke, German guy, big chin.
I've heard of him.
And it didn't really happen to him because he kept focus. And now he's a bit older and that. But he still had, at the baseline of sort of an incredible ability upon which he could pin a certain amount of confidence that helped him through. And I don't know whether maybe if Lewis Hamilton can pull that together even at his tender age, that he could do the same thing. It's not given that he'll fall apart.
He does seem to be a very. I mean, he seems to be a very mature, very level-headed kind of guy, and yeah, absolutely with the focus to keep it together.
Let's be honest. He's not actually above doing a few of those sort of Schumacher-esque, slightly naughty kind of, you know, choppy chop moves across people as well. I mean, let's face it, nice guy out of the car, but he's pretty ballsy in it. And that's
ballsy but fair.
Yeah, well,
ballsy but fair.
Interesting. We are talking about the rookie in this season in terms of Michael Schumacher, the most successful Formula One driver.
I'll never forget when Sterling Moss said, "I'm flattered to be compared to Lewis Hamilton."
Yeah, that was amazing.
What is going on there?
Okay, I think it's probably this is the answer's already written. The final question: Zogs, you going to win the World Championship, or if not, who will it be?
I think he probably will. I'd happily put money on it.
I'm absolutely
I'm
in
so
agreement.
pleased that you went straight out there, courage your convictions, and said yes, because I was hoping someone would first, but I'm going to follow you and say, yeah, I think he will. And I'll tell you why. I've got another theory why. He is the only driver at the moment, now I know there's a good half of the season left, but he is the only driver at the moment who is completely comfortable in a team. Kimi, not quite, having trouble settling in Ferrari. Alonso clearly back foot, having trouble settling in McLaren. Who else is there? You know, there's people who are putting in sporadic performances, but for consistency, totally comfortable as a unit, tight with the team in the Schumacher mould with the Ferrari. It's Lewis Hamilton, McLaren, absolutely as one. Dunk, they're there, and that's why I think he could do this. He really could.
Yeah, I mean, Massa's pretty comfortable at Ferrari, but Massa in a Ferrari isn't as quick as Hamilton in a McLaren, and Hamilton's leading the championship now. That's the way it's going to finish.
And by far the most well-known Hamilton since Diddy David Hamilton on Radio 2 or Capital Gold or something. Say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.
I got the McLaren!
From the front of the grid to the first slow corner, like the writing on your Marlboro pack, I better warn ya. And the latest of the breakers make the others go wide. Easy when you're Lewis Hamilton, you just cut right inside. Like the scream of an engine or burst of flak from the back to the front of this racing track. Cornering like the cars on rails. Despite the nomenclature, I don't come from Wales. We all need respect and Hamilton is due his. Just call me Lewis. Quickest in the action by more than a fraction. I'm the motorsport Jesse Jackson.
I got the McLaren!
Equality and possess. I'm fast and I'm fresh when McLaren drives through the rest. On the steering wheel that I embrace. Copybook dynamics and never erase if they crack. Don't be surprised if I drive around them. Your car will crash, so stay off my track, or I will overtake, and you don't want that.
I got the McLaren!
Attack. You rule the men, and I rule the work. Make my teammate look like a jerk. Gone for dust and left in the dust. On the floor damage, reputation hurts.
I got the McLaren!
Gareth Jones on Speed was made by Lewis Hamilton. Whiz Bang.